First story. My father contacted me after 15 years of abandonment, crying and begging to reconcile, and told me the reason for his resentment towards me, revealing his terminal cancer. I am unsure what to think of this situation, as I just got a message from him a few hours ago after all this time. My father has been absent for most of my life, with random drop-ins every now and then throughout my childhood. I was raised as a single child by my mother 58F for most of my life. My parents divorced when I was still a baby, and my mother has tried to marry again at least once, from what I can remember. But all her romantic relationships drifted apart after some time. She eventually gave up on finding love in men and shifted her focus to raising me. I wasn't neglected or anything, but her second and last marriage, on further reflection, was bad for her mental health. My mother and I were the only ones in each other's immediate family up until I moved out on my own over a year ago. We still keep in contact regularly. To make a long story short, almost every time my father came into my life, it was either because he wanted something or to give my mom a hard time. Childhood nativity mostly clouded me on his ulterior motives, but I do recall a few times he hurt me emotionally. Keep in mind that I had to talk with my mom to get the rest of the story. When I was in 5th grade, my father sent some furniture to our apartment, stating that he wanted to try living together again. I can't remember why my mom agreed to it or fathom the reason. We did not hear from him for several months from the time we received his stuff. But I recall one day, the police being called to our place. My father was with them, accusing my mom of keeping his stuff from him. I don't know what his plan was, but it ended up backfiring on my father, with the police telling him to collect his stuff and get off the premises before he got arrested. I peeked out the front door where my mom was standing, and my father requested the police speak with me. I asked him why he was doing this, but I don't recall him giving an answer. I ended up crying and running up to my room. He continued to collect his stuff and drove off. Another time is after Hurricane Katrina. I was 14 at the time. My father was stationed in the Army in Mississippi, but while we were in the next state over, we lost contact for some weeks, and my mom got a call from him while we were driving somewhere. I was talking to him about being able to visit again at some point, but he got serious all of a sudden and said he did not want any contact from me while I still had a relationship with my mother. I actually ended up subconsciously repressing this memory because it was emotionally devastating to me. Mostly the exact wording he said. As I started getting upset over the phone, my mom immediately grabbed the phone and started verbally grinding into him over what he said to me. I vividly remember her yelling at him, "How dare you call her a burden? How dare you?" With that, she half-tossed the phone back to me, and my father immediately ended the call. Subsequent events involving my father popping up out of the blue ended with disappointment and eventually turned into underlying resentment towards him. My mom shared some secret emails he sent, calling her derogatory things like fat and calling me a mindless puppy. After I turned 17, he sent me a birthday card, saying he's glad he no longer has to pay child support anymore. It took me a while to realize that some people are just toxic and should be cut out of one's life. My resentment still remained, and it f-ed with my mental health for a while. In my mid-20s, I got a Facebook message from him wanting to talk again. After mulling it over, I ended up unloading all my anger at him over Messenger. All the disappointment spilled out of me like a waterfall as I sent message after message, airing out every grievance against him. At the end of it all, I ended up saying that I don't know what kind of man he is now, but I forgive the man he was. This was more for myself than anything else, as I was tired of carrying the emotional baggage. After my outburst, we did not message each other for about 2 years. Any correspondence from him was just wishing me a happy birthday every year. I spent that time feeling lighter and trying to mentally heal. For some reason, I did not block him on Facebook. He rarely posted anyway, but I knew he got married again and had kids. I was his first child. In the current situation, I just got a message saying he's visiting my state in the next 2 days and would like to meet for lunch or dinner. I am again thinking of all the things he did in the past, and the resentment is coming back, but not as strong as it used to be. Part of me wants to see him again, just to see what he's been up to since I last saw him in person, like I still need more closure. Another part is saying that I shouldn't try, as it would just degrade my mental health back to square one. Another part of me wants to meet him, and that person, and yell at him all the things I said over Facebook all over again. I think what I am asking is if I should meet with him again, just to get his side of the story. He said one day he would tell the whole story of why he fell out with my mom. Maybe I'm still holding on to that tiny grain of futile hope that he might actually keep a promise. I only have my mom's side of the story, and it could be biased for all I know. My better judgment is telling me to just decline his offer and maybe propose a video chat instead. I'm probably not mentally stable enough to handle a physical meeting, especially since I have work the days he's visiting. I work nights, though. It's been about 15 years or more. Shouldn't I be over it by now? I guess I just need an outside perspective on this. Update. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to update this, but here it is. I met with my dad at a restaurant of my choosing. When I got there, I barely recognized him. He, on the other hand, recognized me right away. He came up to me and embraced me, crying. Frankly, I wasn't sure what to feel when I saw him. He looked smaller, like he aged 30 years instead of 15 years. The look on his face after he gathered himself looked like one of defeat. A server led us to a more isolated table. It is better to talk things out that way than to have an audience in the middle of the restaurant. I listened to his side of the story. I won't go over the details here, but I will say that I realized that any resentment I had for this man has long since disappeared. I just couldn't bring myself to be angry anymore. Emotions ran high, and I ended up ugly crying a few times, right into my chicken ramen. I accepted that both my mom and dad are far from perfect parents, and that their issues ended up becoming my issues over the years. As an adult, only I can choose how I let those issues affect me. While some things are hard to get over, I left that conversation feeling lighter than before. We exchanged numbers, and even took our first picture together in years. It took me a while to bring up the fact that I started talking to Dad again with my mom, and I did not anticipate her reaction. She was happy that I decided to talk to him again. Frankly, I thought my mom would be somewhat upset about it, but it was the exact opposite. It took her longer to apologize for some things, but I can't really say I was looking for her to apologize for those things. It was more like trying to understand what her line of thinking was at the time. I told both my parents that I was totally fine if they never reconciled with each other. But what was important to me was my individual relationships with both of them. I can still look at Dad as another adult in my life for some advice, as I do not have many of those kinds of people in my life. With the advice of my mom, I decided to spend the Christmas holiday with my dad in Colorado. It had been years since I had seen so much snow. Unfortunately, I couldn't make a snowball without it disintegrating due to the lack of moisture in the mountains. I think I took about 400 pictures the entire time I was there. I met his wife, my stepmom, and some of her family. She was really nice and revealed to me some details about some things that happened over the years of no contact. I should probably mention that in my first conversation with Dad, he revealed he had liver cancer, but did not dwell on the details. When I asked his wife about it, she said it was in stage 4 and terminal. He would need a whole new liver for it to be treated completely. I was also startled that he chose not to be on the list for transplants, which even baffled my mom. I think it hit home to me how hurt he must have felt not being in contact with his biological daughters. I have a half-sister from Dad, but I never met her. He did not want to continue living. Toward the end of my trip, I let my emotions out about how he could give up so easily on life by not taking every opportunity to fight his cancer. I know it's not my decision to make for him, but I know for a fact that I did not want this to be the last Christmas I actually spent with him. After more ugly crying on my part, he agreed to put himself on the transplant list. I guess I'm glad that I did not pass up the opportunity to get back in touch with him. I have managed to put a lot of emotional baggage behind me since then, and am continuing to feel better about myself. Second story. SIL's sister falsely claimed I sought her to win truth or dare with her friend. My brother sided with her, disowned me, and got me arrested. Now he wants to reconcile after the truth came out, but I cut ties with him and went NC. I 22 am live upstairs from my brother and his girlfriend in the same apartment complex. My brother and I were very close. His girlfriend F21, I'll call her Betty, seemed to like me. They've been together for about 18 months. Her sister F16, I'll call her Erica, came to visit them in early July, and she was supposed to stay all summer until school started for her. They grew up mostly in foster care because their parents are drug addicts. Their dad is in prison and has been for about 15 years, and their mother is pretty much on drugs and absent. Her sister lives with foster parents, and when I met her back in July, she told us how she'd been saw in foster care and on several other occasions. She volunteered this information, and my best friend and I later talked about how it sounds like she's accused a ton of people she's lived with of such, and we both kind of worried she might someday accuse my brother. One night I came home drunk, and as I was walking up the steps to my front door, I saw Erica sitting on the steps with her laptop. I stopped and said hello for what seemed like 60 seconds. Next thing I know, my brother is up at my apartment the next day, asking me, "What the F have I done?" She claims I propositioned her and that she turned me down. Then she said that I groped her and tried to force her into my apartment while making lewd comments. My brother said the cops were called and that I should probably disappear for a while. I stayed. I was kind of dazed and confused about the whole thing, but I waited for the cops and was arrested that evening. My brother said that I was no longer welcome at his place and that he believed Erica. He said that maybe I was too drunk to remember what I'd done. I was arrested, and some detectives interviewed me in jail. I spoke to them because I felt I had nothing to hide, but my attorney later admonished me for giving a statement at all. One of the detectives, a lady, really genuinely believed my statement. I found out later that she went as far as to come to my workplace to speak with my boss, to tell him to stick with me, to not fire me, and that she would do all she could to prove my innocence. All this while I was in jail because I didn't have bail money $100,000. There are cameras all over the apartment complex, and thank God that one of them points towards the steps leading to my front door. I'm in the hole for about $7,000 in attorney fees, only to find that the video shows me walking up the steps, talking to Erica for 7 seconds, then walking into my apartment. I had told the detectives that I spoke to her for about 45 seconds to 1 minute, because that's how I remembered it. There is no audio available. The video shows Erica stayed on her laptop for about 3 minutes, and then walked up the steps, knocked on my door, and then went halfway down the steps and got back on her laptop for about half an hour. And then she went into my brother's apartment for the rest of the night. She chatted with her friend most of the night, and in her chat logs, she mentions that I came home drunk, said hello, and walked into my apartment. Her chat friend dared her to knock on my door, and she did, but I was passed out by then and didn't answer. My lease is up in December, so I can't move out until then. I've mostly been staying at my sister's house now to stay away from my brother and his girlfriend. When I do see him, he always kisses my arse, telling me how sorry he is for accusing me. And he even admitted that Erica accused him of always looking at her arse to his girlfriend. So he says he should have known that the accusation against me was false as well. I spent 8 days in jail, and my brother stood by Erica the whole time. My sister wanted to put up her house to bail me out, but I asked her not to because I found out she would lose a 10% deposit if she did that. So instead, she lent me the money to hire an attorney. She never doubted me, and neither did my brother-in-law or my friends. My brother insists that I should sit down with him and his girlfriend so they can apologize. I just want them out of my life. I kind of feel betrayed by my brother, and I've so far cut him out of my life. I don't know if I'll ever get over this. Edit. I just want to clarify something. I never lived with my brother. I lived in my own apartment upstairs from theirs. My lease is my own, in my own apartment. And when he said I wasn't welcome at his house anymore, he meant that I shouldn't come over to visit like I often did. He was saying, if they don't arrest you or you get out on bail, don't come over to my place. Also, the cops were supposedly told the cameras didn't work at first, which I had been told a year ago by the manager as well. The cops say they didn't find out that that particular camera was working and recording, and that the footage was available in an online database until 5 days after my arrest. But then it took them 36 hours to review the video, which really frustrates me. But my attorney says that that's not a really long time. It's apparently normal for them to take so long to review video footage. I think I could have done it in 36 minutes. But that's just me. TLDR. My brother stood by my accuser, and now I never want to speak to him again, even though he keeps apologizing. Relevant comments. Archipelagi. This doesn't make any sense. Even if they seized her laptop, they would have been required to do a forensic analysis of it, which requires imaging the hard drive, which requires waiting ages for it to make its way through the police system, which means there is no chance in hell they had those chat logs if they were even saved on the hard drive and not on Facebook or something when all this was going down. Why would they even inform your attorney about the chat logs a week later? Had the charges not been dismissed by then? Or were you just released pending trial? And they decided a week later to dismiss the charges. OP. I was released without having to put up any money as soon as the video surfaced. But they didn't officially drop the charges until a month later. At my next court appearance, well, I wasn't there for that one. The judge had anticipated that the prosecutor would drop the charges, so I wasn't required to appear. So my attorney told me to go to lunch while he went and appeared on my behalf. As far as the laptop, they didn't have to send the computer to some lab for analysis right away. Erica had her own attorney that I heard had been provided by the state, but I don't know. The cops and/or prosecutors, along with forensic experts, got passwords to emails and chats from Erica's attorney. Also, at this point, Erica's attorney handed over contact information to her friend. the one she chatted with that night. And she backed away from most of her accusations, but not all through her attorney. Ripped away. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense to me that they would even arrest you for that, much less hold you for 8 days. I'm not calling you a liar or even doubting you, but I can't help but wonder if there is more to this story than you let on. Just to be clear, they arrested you and put you in jail based solely on her word. OP. Also, just to add something, they didn't even check her laptop until they took me to court on Tuesday, and my attorney requested the laptop so he could get a forensic expert to check it. The prosecutor kind of put up a fight about that, and the judge sided with the prosecutor. But according to my attorney, the prosecutor had realized in court that there had been sloppy police work done. He knew the judge would never give us the laptop, but he just wanted it to become part of the evidence, so he would eventually have access to it. My attorney thought maybe she was on Facebook or emailing somebody, and she would say something to contradict her account of what happened. All of that turned out to be right. Only then did the cops go and confiscate it from Erica, and then they checked it themselves. And then they told my attorney that they had video, and that he would get a copy on Thursday. Then it wasn't until a week after I was released that my attorney said they informed him about the chat logs. It all moved along very slowly. Maybe it happened so slowly because it's kind of a small town, and the cops aren't as experienced as, say, the NYPD or LAPD. OP. She showed them bruises on her arms and breasts. I don't know where she got those. I never touched her. But yes, they just arrested me on Friday night, took me to court on Tuesday morning, and on Wednesday afternoon, my attorney said the cameras work, but that the footage would be reviewed over and over again, and that I likely wouldn't be released until sometime Thursday night if the video backed up my story. But I wasn't released until Friday morning. Adacamus. Any updates? If you don't pursue this, there will be someone else hurt by her accusations. OP. No updates. I asked about having her charged at the police department, but they sent me to the DA's office, and I was told that she would not be charged in the county that we live in, but that she may soon be charged in another county where she's made more than one accusation. So they're forwarding the information about my case to the county that's charging her. From here on out, it's up to them. Third story. My entitled family demanded which daughter was theirs after seeing both my bio and adopted daughter, then harassed me after I refused to tell them, so I kicked them. Now they are accusing me of stealing their granddaughter, so I cut ties with the family. I, a single 20-year-old female, gave birth to a baby girl about 2 months ago and, at the same time, adopted a second baby girl who was born about 3 days before. The daughter that I had in my uterus, I will call Rose. The daughter that I didn't carry, I will call Lily. I got pregnant with Rose about the same time that my best friend, whom I'll call Anna, got pregnant with Lily. While I was ecstatic about being pregnant, Anna was not. Anna felt that she wasn't in a good place emotionally, financially, or in any other way to have a child. She told me she was considering getting an abortion, but that she wished her child could have a good life somewhere else instead of just being thrown away. But anytime she pictured putting her child up for adoption, she remembered all of the stories of abusive adoptive parents. She said that she felt helpless because there didn't seem to be any good answers. That's when we came up with a hesitant plan. We decided that if, after Lily's birth, Anna still didn't feel like she could raise her, I would adopt Lily and raise the girls as twins. Anna didn't want Lily to know she was adopted, but I hated the idea of lying to a daughter of mine. We decided that once Lily was old enough to understand, I would explain that she was adopted. If at that point Anna felt ready, we would tell Lily that Anna was her biological mom, and if not, then we would say that her mother wasn't ready for her to know who she was. This way Lily could live her life. Anna didn't need to be worried about Lily, because she could check on her at any time, and Anna would be able to continue working on getting her life in order. I chose not to have any of my family in the room during the birth, because I wasn't comfortable with them seeing me like that, and Anna was fighting with her family at the time. So Anna and I were the only ones in the room for each other during the birth. After Lily was born, Anna still wanted me to adopt her, and she also said that she did want to be in her life more than she originally thought. We decided that she would be the godmother of both girls, and that I would be their mother. When it was time for us to go home, I organized a get-together for my family to meet both of my daughters, and we went forward with the adoption. As soon as my grandmother met my babies, she asked me which one was my daughter, and I replied that they both were. She rolled her eyes and said that I knew what she meant. I told her that, no, I don't, because they are both my daughters. She got mad about that and asked me which one was my real daughter, and my parents backed her up, saying that I should tell them which daughter I had adopted. I got mad and asked them why it mattered. Both babies are my children. I'm breastfeeding both of them. I named both of them. And I was there through the entire pregnancy for both of them, even if I only carried one of them myself. This led to a fight with my family, insisting that I tell them which daughter is which, and me insisting that my grandmother apologized for implying that one of them wasn't my real daughter. My parents told me that I was being dramatic, pointlessly stubborn, and ridiculous, and that they just wanted to know when dealing with the girls which one was their granddaughter. I kicked all of them out and said that unless they apologized and stopped asking which daughter was adopted, they would not get to see either of them. After they left, I sent out a text saying that I will tell them which one is adopted when I explained to her that she is adopted. But adopted or not, they are both my children. I also reiterated that until I get an apology, and they agreed to view my daughters equally, they will not see the girls, and I will not be talking to them. I received a massive amount of text ranging from them demanding that I let them see the kids and telling me how I was cruel and selfish to deprive my daughters of their love, to pleading with me to just tell them which girl is which and let them see my daughters. After a few weeks of this, I said enough. The stress of trying to take care of 2 babies, adopt Lily, and deal with my family was too much. So I sent out another text telling them that I was serious when I said I wouldn't tell them which daughter was adopted. I then told them that I couldn't take their constant text anymore, and anyone who texted me something that didn't start with an apology was getting blocked. Most of my family realized I wouldn't back down and stop texting. I did have to block my brother, who sent me 2 paragraphs about why I should just give our parents and grandparents what they want, because it isn't worth the fight. I also had to block my mom, who texted me to tell me that no one was going to help me take care of the children until I told them the truth about my real daughter. Anna agrees with me that they shouldn't care which one is adopted, and says she wishes that my family didn't even know that one girl was adopted. Well, yesterday both babies were crying. Lily needed a diaper change, and Rose was hungry, and I realized that my mom was right. I can't be in both places at once, and I can't take care of them by myself. Luckily, Anna was there, and she was able to take care of them both and get them settled because I broke down sobbing and was completely useless. Now I'm starting to wonder if I am a bad mother for not letting my daughters see their family, and if I have chosen the wrong hill to die on. P.S. Anna was able to cheer me up. We cuddled together, and with the babies on the sofa, we ate ice cream and chocolate most of the night. She is also the one who convinced me to write this post because she is obsessed with Reddit. Update. Thank you all so much for the support. I was shocked when I saw how many people had commented, because I honestly expected to find maybe 3 or 4. I tried to read through the comments quickly, and I want to answer a few things that I saw multiple people say. 1. Everyone knows that Anna is pregnant, and that one of them is her biological child. Anna and I do look pretty similar on a basic level. Both have similar colors of brown hair, dark brown eyes, and are both white. I am a little darker than Anna. She is fair-skinned, and I always look like I have a tan. We also both got pregnant by a white guy. To me, at least, it isn't obvious which girl is who's a bio kid. 2. Anna had been dating Lily's dad for maybe half a year. But when he heard that Anna was pregnant, he told her that he didn't want anything to do with a child. I got pregnant because I went to a party and was an idiot. I have contacted Rose's father, but he told me to give him time to think, so I have been waiting for him to come around. 3. I have not legally adopted Lily yet. Anna and I have agreed that Lily is my child, and Lily is staying at my house, but Anna is still currently her legal guardian. Right now, we are trying to figure out where Lily's father went. 4. I think I saw several people saying that I don't know how much work 2 babies will be. I definitely did not know what I was signing up for. Me and Anna thought we knew it would be hard, but this is not what I was expecting. Anna has been an absolute angel. She is probably the only reason I am still sane right now. After we realized our false expectations, Anna comes over almost daily except for the 2 days before I had a mini breakdown, and has fallen asleep at my house a few times while caring for the kids. Another friend of ours, whom I'll call James, has also been stopping by. He doesn't help with the girls because, in his own words, I don't know what to do with a baby, but James makes food and cleans up the house a bit. I am eternally grateful to both James and Anna because I would be lost without them. A lot of you have pointed out that telling Lily when she is old is a bad idea, and I agree with you. That was my idea. I didn't really think about how that could affect her finding out when she was older. I'm going to talk to Anna about this because I don't want to cause my daughter any issues down the line. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.